Hello, I'd like to call this meeting of the Coventry Technical Review Committee to order. It is Monday, December 8th, 2025 at 1:33 p.m. We're going to go through our agenda. I do see that a quorum of the TRC is present. For the emergency evacuation plan, we're going to head out the doors behind you and right out the building. Approval of minutes. We did distribute the minutes from the November 10th meeting. Do I hear a motion? All right, motion from Director McGee. Do I have a second on that? Second by Marshall Mann. That is to approve the November 10th minutes. Any further discussion? All right, let's have a vote on the approval of the November 10th minutes. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Those minutes are approved. Moving on to new business for discussion and/or comment. The first item for the TRC for discussion or comment is the Village at Tioga. This is for comments to the Planning Commission. This matter has been in front of the TRC. This will be the third time this is with the TRC. So we're building upon previous comments. This is a preliminary plan, major land development, comprehensive permit. The applicant is proposing to develop 176 units comprised of single-family units and multifamily units on approximately 27 acres of land as a comprehensive permit. A minimum of 25% of the proposed units must be deed restricted as affordable. Site access is proposed from Tioga Avenue, Tiffany Road, East Shore Drive, and Minglewood Drive. As a next step, this proposal will be reviewed by the Planning Commission at a special meeting December 18th, 2025 at the Coventry High School. We do have a dedicated webpage to this project that you can find on the Planning Department page. That being said, let's jump into comments. Mr. Haggerty, do you mind beginning?
Planning staff notes that the applicant has submitted a through road exhibit representing their commitment to construct the through road connection between areas 2 and 3. The through road satisfies TRC comments and Planning Commission's feedback from prior meetings for this specific outstanding issue. Planning staff asked the applicant to provide a fully engineered site layout plan, revised site layout plan in a timely manner. In earlier correspondence with the applicant, planning staff asked the applicant to identify the locations of streetlights on the plans. The project narrative states, quote, "The development will be designed to light the proposed roadway to ensure safety is required," end quote. However, no streetlights are shown on the actual proposed plan sheet. In addition, in the same correspondence, planning staff asked the applicant to identify the locations of cluster mailboxes. USPS now requires cluster mailboxes for all new residential developments. And then all previous comments from the October and November TRC meetings still stand.
Engineer Levesque, do you mind taking us as the next comment?
As previously discussed with the engineer of record, Dupree Engineering, a RIDEM order of approval is required for the project. Final overall sewer approval will be conditional on the RIDEM issuance of this approval. All previous Tiffany Road traffic-related comments stated in the October 14, 2025 TRC meeting still stand. Applicant shall file the Town of Coventry inspection procedures document dated 11/10/25. Through road exhibit, please provide a revised stormwater management report that reflects changes associated with the roadway modification.
Fire Marshal Mann.
Street lighting diagram needs to be provided. And the only other question is phase 1 is going to be a private road now, and phase 2 and 3 are both public.
And yeah, that's a good question. That is my understanding. And when we get to it, the applicant can certainly speak to that to verify. On this side of the table, Chief Witt.
The proposed throughway road appears beneficial. However, all the previous comments from the police department still stand, and we will have further comment once those changes are completed.
Director McGee.
Safety is still a concern. The access to Tiffany Road still presents concerns for pedestrian safety due to insufficient right-of-way width along Tiffany Road. The interior connection has not demonstrated a sufficient enough reduction in traffic towards the Tiffany Road area.
All right, that completes the comments on this project. The applicant, you're certainly welcome to offer any responses, questions, or feedback as you have any. Just make sure the button is green.
There we go.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Jaleesa Arce on behalf of the applicant. Law offices are located in 100 Westminster, Providence, Rhode Island. To answer Fire's question, yes, Area 1 will provide private roads and Area 2 and 3 will be public. And with regarding other comments, requesting some requirements from the applicant in terms of site changes, we were awaiting feedback from this committee and feedback from the planning board at the next meeting in order to provide revisions for the January planning board meeting. So we're going to incorporate all of those changes, including providing information on streetlights and information on mailboxes and whatnot. For other questions pertaining to some more engineering, I'm going to defer to our engineer of record.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good afternoon, Greg Guglielmo, Depreet Engineering. I think let me address first just the what Julissa was just speaking about in terms of the engineering. We are planning on, as Julissa mentioned, going through the next meeting to understand kind of where the density ends up. That's been a major piece that has not been discussed in front of the board yet. Once that density is decided upon, it'd be a lot easier for us to make final revisions to the plans in terms of the grading and stormwater. One point to note is that when we submitted the development to RIDM, we'd anticipated the potential for this to be a through connection. So it's already been kind of addressed in our design to do that. But we still have to go through and obviously revise the grading plans and profiles as such. On the streetlights and mailboxes, as we noted, we've kind of already started those discussions. Chief Shannon, the applicant, reached out to Chief Shannon and talked about lighting and hydrants, that we'd be able to address those as we get a little bit further. Again, kind of the same thing, making sure that we're not proposing them on a plan and then lots change, and then we have to kind of move those locations of the poles, making sure they're on lot lines, and the same thing with hydrants. So we don't have to worry about them being in the way of driveways. Same thing with mailbox locations. We've started that discussion regarding the mailboxes and where they'll end up. We kind of had to wait until the through road was done, because now there may be some different manners in which the Postal Service may want that the mailboxes to be done, whether they want them in two different locations or one location. They kind of are going to dictate to us where they want them. As far as I can give you a little bit of an update on Tiffany Road, we have started the survey research on Tiffany. One thing is, I'm sure you're all aware of, there's not a lot of deed research, or sorry, there's not a lot of deeds or survey work that was done out there to establish that right of way. We know it's a public right of way, but we just don't know how wide it is at this point. We definitely want to take into account everything that was in PAR's peer review in terms of being able to look at areas that we can widen that and repave it. And I believe that's been discussed at the planning board meetings, that we would definitely look for areas where we could improve that. There is some wetlands on the side of that road as well, so some of it is going to be an issue as far as how we can actually even do that and mitigate it in the right of way. So we still need to kind of button that up, and I don't know how much of that information we'll have by the next hearing, but we do understand that that's something that still needs to be addressed. We have also kind of noted, I think, as part of this as well, that although we do firmly believe, as the town does as well, that a lot of folks in this area do use Tiffany as a primary access to this area, with the through road connection now between 2 and 3, there's going to be the ability now for folks to access through the Minglewood development, through the East Shore Drive development, and also if they're coming from New London, be able to access through Angus over to Old North Road. So there is a lot of access points. Were something to happen to Tiffany, or if sometime down the line the town believes that Tiffany is not a viable access point in this area for primary access, there are definitely other access points that would allow this development to still be viable. See if there's anything else that. On the engineering comments too, one thing that I probably want to note is that we understand obviously the inspection process that you have. We'd obviously want anything like that to be outlined in any condition of approval. Just because it's not in the ordinances, I believe, as of this point, is it? So if it's made part of the conditions of approval, the applicant has no concern on that. That's all I have, unless there's any specific questions for me.
Yeah, and I think, Greg, that's fine. I think obviously the conditions related to inspections might be 3 pages. We don't mind at all, memorializing that in a potential future decision on the project, similar to what has happened on other projects that you're familiar with. It is a consistent approach we're taking across for all projects, so it is a document that we're holding everyone to, but I don't mind if we want to make, for clarity purposes, put that document, memorialize it as part of this project.
Yeah, at least as long as it references the document, so,
yeah,
as
I
part of
think
the condition of approval.
Our general plan is when we get there, obviously, we're not quite at a
Sure.
point where we're ready to have any discussion on firm conditions, but when we get there, our thought was it was going to reference the document date based on the specific date. And obviously, that document is a procedural document, it's a staff level document, it might change over time, but as of that date, it will remain static for the purposes of referring to this decision. Our plan was to basically cut out 3 pages of language so that the decision can just be more succinct, but have the same outcome.
Yeah, and I agree. I just wanted to kind of make clear that obviously we would want to have it referenced in there, not just as part of this, but referenced
Yeah.
in the decision that the applicant must comply with the current inspection standards of the town.
That's the plan.
Good.
Any other questions from other TRC members? All right. Do you have anything else, Greg?
No, I think that's it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, moving on with the next item on our agenda. This would be item 4.2, project entitled New Office Space. This is for comments to the administrative officer. This is not, this is a project that is not going to the planning commission. This is a preliminary plan, minor land development, Howard Ave Garages LLC is the owner. The applicant or the subject property is 19 Howard Avenue. The applicant proposes to construct 1,440 square feet of new accessory office space on a site that already contains an industrial use/building. The office space will be hosted in a new standalone 24-foot by 60-foot structure in the rear of the property. Let's go through our TRC comments on this time. Why don't we start with you, Mr. Chase?
The planning department's comments are, staff will require a reanalysis of the parking requirements showing where the replacement parking spaces will be on a revised preliminary plan. This new calculation should include the new employees expected in the office trailer. Current analysis on the plan shows 24 spaces required without the trailer and 24 spaces provided with the trailer taking up 4 of those spaces. I do note that we did receive a revised plan this morning. That is in the TRC packets. The comments do not reflect the new plans. And staff will require showing the relocation of the dumpster and the dumpster enclosure on a revised preliminary plan. Same comment.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chase. Let's continue on down this way. Director McGee, do you have any comments on this one? No comments from Director McGee. Chief Witt, any comments?
No comments.
All right. On the other side of the table, do we have any comments? This is the Howard Ave one. Do you have any comments, Engineer Levesque? Yeah.
One comment on the plan, parking spaces utilized by the footprint of the trailer must be added elsewhere on site.
Great. And I don't believe we have any fire comments, but I don't want to speak for you gentlemen. I don't think we have fire comments on this project. Okay. All right, that completes the comments on this one. The plan that did arrive late, we can certainly circulate to the TRC members and see if this adequately addresses the comments. I do see an addition of parking spaces. I do see a relocation of a trailer. It's not clear to me if this came with any additional analysis on how this meets parking code.
It did not.
Okay, so there may, while this document does move them forward a bit, we still may need some additional information from the applicant on the parking spaces. If the applicant is present or any representative of the applicant, you're welcome to come. Feel free. You don't have to, but you can offer any questions, any feedback, anything you have.
On the,
And just, if you don't mind, state your name.
Jason Allery, I represent O2 Global. The plan that was just submitted shows new parking spaces behind the original building, the 15,000 square foot building.
Yep. And does the comment make sense to you that the previous plan indicated you were maxed out, or that the site required 24 spaces? You took 4 of them away. It looks like you're giving us 5 new ones.
Yes.
But do you understand the comment that the parking for an industrial site is based on the number of employees? So the number of employees that are now occupying the office trailer, I think we're going to need a document that just describes that.
Okay.
I think what we're looking for is employment could change over time. I think we're looking for something that understands what's your current employment and how many parking spaces are required and whether this plan provides sufficient parking. So I think something from you making an assessment of your parking requirements based on current employment. Does that sound fair, Mr. Chase? All right. Any questions on that?
Nope.
It doesn't go to the planning commission, so really you're working with staff on this. If you can submit us something in writing on that parking piece,
Sure.
I think we could keep this moving.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Any final comments on that item? All right, hearing none, we'll move to the next item on the agenda. This is item 4.3, daycare parking lot. This is for comments to the administrative officer. This is not going to the planning commission. This is a preliminary plan, development plan review, change of use. The street address is 16 Hope Furnace Road, right on the Situate line. The applicant proposes to construct a 0.36 acre parking lot for a proposed daycare facility. The daycare building will be located in the town of Situate at 16 Hope Furnace Road. The parking lot in Coventry is being reviewed as a change of use, but there will not be any structures built on the Coventry property in association with this project. Let's start again with you, Mr. Chase.
Planning comments are, planning staff note that the daycare building is located in the town of Situate. Therefore, this application would only concern itself with a parking lot located in Coventry. This application was previously approved via a special use permit, which has expired. The daycare has received master and preliminary approvals from the town of Situate. And applicant should provide clarification on the content of the 10-foot vegetative screen.
Thank you. Director McGee, did you have any comments on this? Chief Witt, any comments?
No comment.
All right, going the other way. Engineer Levesque, any comments on this?
I have comments on the proposed plan. A drainage plan and drainage calculations are required for the project in accordance with Article 8D of the Town of Coventry Design and Public Improvement Standards. Submission of a Town of Coventry soil erosion and sediment control application will be required for the project. And upon completion of the project, a certificate of conformance from the engineer of record shall be required. The COC shall certify that the constructed project meets all required standards, regulations, and specifications in the permitting and construction documents. A certificate of occupancy will not be issued until the COC is received and accepted by the town. End of comments.
Fair enough. And then I think it's fair to say in this context, a COC might be understood to be the allowance for the use of the parking area located in the town of Coventry. Thank you. Chief Katie, do you have any comments on this?
I did comment on it. However, it belongs to Marshall, man. I think we had the same comments.
Okay.
The proposed minimum requirement was met for the entrance of the parking lot, but there's an island in the parking lot that makes it a little tight
Okay.
for turning around in case there's cars in the parking lot. That's it.
Are you, I mean, and obviously you gentlemen can kind of each speak to this.
Just the same comment.
Yeah, fair enough. Same comment. And then would you recommend the removal of that island? Assuming that it doesn't create a additional stormwater challenge for the
Yeah,
applicant?
because it makes that parking lot too tight.
Gotcha. Understood. Yeah. All right. Any other comments right now? Is the applicant or any representative, feel free to come on up. And if you don't mind, you guys can both approach, if you just can give me your names just for the record. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is John Mahoney. I'm the applicant this afternoon. This is attorney Stephen Antonucci. So do I have a minute on a little bit of travel and history of this project?
I mean, I think we've got a good, good understanding of it. I'm sorry. We've got a good understanding of it. You don't need to provide a full presentation, but based on the comments you just heard, is there anything in particular that you have feedback on, presents a challenge to you, or otherwise wanted to let us know?
Yeah, I heard some concern in reference to the vegetative state or the buffer. That's on the original approved plans. We have a buffer along the back parking lot, if that's what you're referring to.
I think one of the comments was we're looking for you to identify what's the content of the 10-foot landscape buffer. What kind of mix of trees and plantings are you looking to do there?
I don't have that as we speak. It's on the plans. Do you have these plans? Are we?
Yeah, we have these hand-drawn plans.
Yes.
Yeah, that it identifies there's a 10-foot landscape buffer, but it doesn't identify what's happening in there.
So my intention would be to do just a typical run-of-the-mill landscaping, along that area, apovites or green giants with some mulch and some small plantings to dress the parking lot.
I think that sounds appropriate, but I think we'll probably want to get, a little more into, how many, you could offer an arborvitae every 8 feet, or you could offer an arborvitae
I'd like
every
to
20
see
feet.
them no less than 8 feet because they grow into each other, yes.
I think less than 8 feet is something we could work with. And this is not going to the commission. So really it's a staff conversation. We do bring it to these meetings so that there's some transparency in the comments, but I think where you're headed doesn't seem to be a challenge on my end. And then I know the engineer was looking for stormwater calculations, but I believe you mentioned that had been prepared. I just don't know if we had received the submission yet.
So the whole package has been redone and it's been submitted to DEM, not only for the drainage, but for the septic as well.
Okay.
And there was an insignificant alteration permit that needed to be re-upped.
Okay.
We're expecting a favorable on all fronts.
Yep.
From DEM and then, hopefully the next 30 days.
Understood.
There's some new challenges down there with their permitting process, so they're a little backlogged.
Understood.
So with that, nothing, gentlemen, has changed on this project from the original approval. Every single thing is the same. Every
Yeah.
elevation, every contour. And was it the fire chief that had a concern with the parking lot in the back with that?
The island,
The island?
the vegetative island. If you took the vegetative island away, does it change your permitting for
Yeah.
DEM?
Both of us saw that.
It's so
Marshall did,
insignificant. I'll check with my engineer. I don't think that additional increase in runoff would affect storm drain calculations.
It was very small. It appeared more decorative than anything else. But
It
it
was
creates
decorative.
probably a 16-foot wide width if there were cars parked in the parking lot.
Yeah,
To
and
make that circle around there, once we commit to that parking lot, it'd be tough getting in and out of there, maneuvering it.
we'll be happy to take that out. We also put that in there because we were hoping to use it as a little bit of a direction to the traffic.
Like a
So the
one-way.
parents come in,
Yep.
they go around, there's a little back door. So, but we can remove that and we can still put directional signs in the parking lot.
That'd be great. I think, if that doesn't create a challenge for you from a stormwater perspective, I would encourage you to just go ahead and make that change. I think where we're at with this project is that it's at preliminary plan stage. It actually does have 2 stages of review. The next one is considered final plan. That doesn't require coming back to TRC. What I would want to do at final plan is that's when we want to have your state permits in hand. As much as you might have a little bit of waiting to do there, we still need to see it on our end before we consider the project, fully documented, approved, and you're off to your building permits.
Okay.
On the Situate side, you certainly have a right to pursue your Situate building permit as they would allow, just knowing that the parking lot is basically pending approval from DEM.
So just to recap, I think it would be appropriate to provide an engineering statement in reference to the increase in runoff to remove the island in the back parking lot
Sure.
to indicate that there is no, that additional increase in runoff won't negatively impact the drainage system,
Yeah.
the
and-
galleys in front. So that'd
Yeah.
be one. That statement, you're going to want to see the re-up on all fronts from DEM, correct?
Yep, correct. Yeah, we'll want that statement and whatever you need to do with DEM, we'll want to make sure they encompass that in their review as
All
well.
right, and we'll put together a little, landscaping plan. If you
Yeah, I mean, I don't need, for this particular scale, I don't need a landscape architect plan. I mean, to plant a row of green giant arborvitaes, I think we're gonna wanna know, how many, how far apart, and how tall at planting. And with those details, I think I don't have a initial reaction, that says that 8 feet apart is a problem. But yeah, we're gonna wanna just see those details. It could end up coming as something that you would have marked out on the plan. Again, it does not need to be by a landscape architect for this scale. It could be something that you offer us as a narrative submission. It's just something that we can then have a firm understanding of what it is that you'll offer, and that way we know what it is we'll expect when you build.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, appreciate that leniency.
Yep.
Mr. Steve? No, anything with you?
Great. No, any other comments on this application? All right, no, we're all set on our end.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, John.
Yep, thank you. All right, moving on with our agenda. The next item is number 4.4, Sienna Condominiums. This is for comments to the Planning Commission. This is a preliminary plan, major land development, comprehensive permit. The applicant is Boulder Hill Development LLC. The site is located at Main Street and Jersic Court, particularly identified as AP 45, Lot 10, 11, 12, and 13. The applicant proposes to construct 8 duplex structures for a total of 16 residential units on approximately 2.2 acres of land as a comprehensive permit. A minimum of 25% of the proposed units will be deed restricted as affordable. This application will be reviewed by the Planning Commission at their December 17th, 2025 meeting. On this one, why don't we go down this way of the table? Mr. Haggerty, do you have comments on this?
Yes. Planning staff comments are as follows. One, planning staff notes that recent code changes have allowed for residential development in the VMC zone, and the maximum allowable density for the subject parcel is 2 units per acre under standard zoning provisions. This development is being proposed as a state-enabled comprehensive permit application with access to public water and sewer, which makes it eligible for a density bonus of an additional 5 units per acre. Therefore, the minimum allowable density for this development is 7 units per acre. The applicant is currently seeking a density of 7.27 units per acre. 2, the applicant will request an easement to access Kenray Drive from the town council following the preliminary plan review. The access easement was originally intended for both regular traffic and emergency responders, but the applicant has since revised their easement request to propose Kenray Drive as an emergency access only roadway. The applicant will also install a crash gate at the northern end of the 2-way Sienna Lane internal roadway. 3, in earlier correspondence, Central Coventry Fire District indicated their support for the emergency access roadway and crash gate given Kenray Drive's existing safety issues. The traffic impact study submitted by the applicant states that, quote, the safe stopping site distance exiting Kenray Drive is substandard 210 feet and should be 261 feet, end quote. Number 4, the applicant should relocate the proposed mailroom to another area of the site, as this will detract from the historic aesthetic of the Washington Village streetscape. And number 5, staff suggests that the applicant explore potential utilization of the area of the parcel along Main Street for a reconstruction of one of the existing houses proposed for demolition, either 1205 or 1209 Main Street. Staff is concerned that the demolition of these 2 houses would amount to a disruption of historic Washington Village streetscape. And number 6, planning staff is concerned that the landscape plan shown on sheet L1 does not adequately protect the existing natural buffer along the northern edge of the subject parcel on Kenray Drive. Staff recommends that the applicant maintain the existing trees and replant trees as necessary to ensure reasonable screening for future residents of Sienna condos and the active recreation areas at Payne Memorial Park. The Director of Parks and Rec has submitted a memo to planning staff in support of a natural vegetative buffer, which will be incorporated into the record on this proposal.
Thank you, Engineer Levesque.
Applicant shall follow the Town of Coventry inspection procedures document dated 11/10/25. Submission of a Town of Coventry soil erosion and sediment control application will be required for the project. I have a question as far as, is the sidewalk access to the cluster mailbox handicap accessible? Engineering requests tying in the foundation drains to the infiltration chambers or to dedicated dry wells. And sheet 5 of 20 proposed layout plan. Overhead light adjacent to unit O is labeled as a parking area light. Confirm that this area is not for parking. That's all I have.
And I'd note, I believe we don't have comments from fire on this one, although we certainly had correspondence with fire to indicate they were comfortable with the crash gate approach towards Kenray. All right, on this side of the table, Director McGee, did you have comments on this? Kevin, do you mind just hitting your button?
Sorry, thank you. I just see that the revised plans that were presented at the meeting omitted the stop sign at Kenray, which is one of the questions. We do have notation that the breakaway gate is installed, has emergency access at Kenray. We should also look at installing plantings, low impact plantings in that area so we don't have all asphalt. Looking to provide a fenced dumpster area if there's non-communal collection areas. And we should provide for a snow storage area on the plans, which I don't see. Just want to clarify also that the narrative indicates that the trash and recycling will be managed with individual wheeled bins. Just understand that is going to be private. It will not be public collection. That's the only comments.
Thank you. Chief Witt, any comments on this?
No comments.
Great. Is the applicant present, wishes to ask any questions, offer any feedback based on what you heard? If you don't mind, just offer your names for the record, please.
Good morning. Thank you for your time today. My name's Steve Andrus. I'm with Commonwealth Engineers in Providence. Yeah, we've met before, Doug. We have. That's right. Yeah, that's okay. I was just going to go real quick through everybody's comments if I can, because I got them in writing already. So I'll start with Joe. And yes, we understand that the applicant will follow the testing and inspection from Coventry. The client will submit an application for a Coventry soil erosion and sediment control plan. We have submitted the SCSC that went to DEM and the O&M plans and everything for the drainage already. Question, the sidewalk by the cluster mailbox. The cluster mailbox has been moved and that sidewalk has been eliminated as we got rid of the little building down low. I will look at seeing if I can put some small chambers in for the foundation drains. We really try to avoid tying them into the infiltration chambers in case anything backs up. We don't want it flooding back around the foundations. If they're farther enough down the hill, I'll tie them in because they really don't make much difference. You know, they're not going to have a huge flow coming, but and then I'll put a backflow preventer on them if we do tie them into those, or else we'll just put them on a small one. It's not a big deal. And I was just calling everything parking lights because that's what I was asked for. I could have labeled it as street light. I was just trying to make sure there's some adequate lighting on all the streets in those areas. I'll jump over to Dennis's comments, which I agree with the density calculations. The easement, we are up before the town council on the 16th, Tom?
I think we're gonna go in January.
In January for the
Planning first to make
planning
sure
first?
that,
Okay.
given the multiple options we've been through, that they're in agreement with this one, and then we'll go to town council.
Yeah, and just for the record, the conversations I've had with Mr. Cronin have indicated that now that the access easement is just for emergency access only, that really greatly reduces the utility and the need for complex discussions about the easement there, which we felt like there just also happened to be a challenging opportunity to get to the council before December 17th. So it seemed to make sense that we're going to bring this plan to the Planning Commission with the assumption that an easement can be achieved after the fact. There'll be a condition of approval to the effect, but I don't see that being particularly challenging for an emergency access only easement.
Okay, no, I just thought that was the schedule that recently,
no.
because we were looking at being on the planning board in January too,
Yeah.
and then the opportunity came up to
No.
make this.
No, and we're on the same page there. I think I just wanted to make that statement in case, folks were wondering where that stood.
No, that's fine. Okay, so we're working on the, so that is emergency access and utility access to get the water and the sewer through there. Coventry Fire, we're good. We moved the mailbox up the hill. We did look at trying to keep one of the buildings down on the bottom. So trying to hold the buildings like where they're at. So one of them can't be there because we had to pull the driveway over, the one that's on, is it 1209? Lot 12. The one on lot 13 is right on the property line. So even if you tried to pull it over and get it back, there's no place to put parking. No, I mean, the parking, either you're gonna have a little landscape buffer and then the parking lot for that house and then the house, and it pushes the house back farther from the road than lining up with the others. The grading's all coming down at it, so we'd have to do a retaining wall or something to keep the stormwater from rushing to the building. Also with the grading, you're gonna have a lot of foundation showing on the street side, trying to keep something flat. So we looked at like 4 different, nothing really seemed to work in there. It's a bad spot right up there at the front of the road. And on the landscape plan, the revised landscape plan we put in, he did add some landscape buffering in front of where we moved the mailbox to. And he also added some, I think they're green giants to that northern property line right behind each of the units as well. So that would have been on the plans that just got dropped off on Friday. I just got those back Thursday night.
That's fair. I don't think that the TRC has had the benefit of those plans as part of our review, but the planning staff will review them leading up to the staff memo that will be drafting this week for the planning commission.
Sounds good.
Yep.
And then so last would be the comments from Kevin on the DPW, and my bag, I forgot to take the stop sign off when I put the gate in. The gate's there, low impact plantings in that area.
Easily be able to be driven over in emergency, but yet buffer.
So you don't want us to keep asphalt from the end of the road out for the fire, or? Okay, I worked that exit around what the fire chief wanted with those turn radiuses and stuff to get the trucks out. Yeah, all right. We'll look at putting something in there, or maybe like some drivable turf or something like that. Okay,
Yeah, too late now. It's too late now.
I could hear you anyways, Kevin. The fence dumpster area, as we got in the narrative that they wanted to do the individual carts, and yeah, that'll be on the homeowners association. We'll have to, they'll have their own trash and recycling pickup and snow plowing and all that. And snow areas, I did have, I don't know if you got to them, they're on the BMP key plan in the drainage system O&M manual. DEM makes me put those on there.
I didn't see them on the plans that we have for my.
Yeah, it's not on the big plan set. It's in the O&M manual. I can send it over to you,
Just adjust.
or I've got it. There should be a copy of the O&M plan there, but yeah, I marked out areas for snow storage. And I think that's it. I think that's all the comments that we had.
One quick note, I know that you gave us revised plans on Friday that were not subject to the full TRC review. And I appreciate you giving us the plans to try to move forward with the concept of relocating the mailbox. The new plans did remove a sidewalk on Sienna Lane, and I wanted to ask you about that. Was that a purposeful change on your end?
Well, so when we were originally asked to have something for a building up front, I was envisioning like a small little salt box building that looked like it had a porch on the side. And the mailboxes would be embedded in the building, and it'd be like, basically like a shed, but a little maintenance storage building, not a house, not anything big. I mean, 'cause this is a comprehensive permit. We got 4 affordable units going with it. So trying to add something extra. We don't really have room for the parking or fitting a full-size building down there. So that had been my thought, but nobody seemed to like that. And I'm sorry, the plans got back a little late. My client's been out, well, they were away for a couple of weeks. They just got back on Monday. We were able to meet last Tuesday to try and go through some of these final changes with them.
No, that's fine. I mean, we don't mind you sending us plans, even if they get to us past the point where the TRC can review, but it does raise the question for our staff report.
I had put the sidewalk in there, so I had room for 3 cars to pull over, park, go get their mail.
Yep.
Left a little sidewalk there so anybody could get to the sidewalk and get over to it and room to pull back out. So we just took that out, left it just as a road, moved the community mailbox up to the first parking area, got some landscaping in south of it to try and cover that up.
I'm looking at the plan now, and you'll have to forgive me. I mean, I know they arrived on Friday, but I'm just looking at them now. I see that you moved the parking areas up into the site, which is what we requested. I didn't see the mailbox, but I'm assuming it's going to be within that.
It's in that first parking space on the right. We added
Oh,
a
okay.
space and striped it out. for the
Nice. I do see
parking, so
that.
The mail
Yep.
truck can pull in, load up the mailboxes and
Thank
back
you.
out and zip right out.
Yeah, again, so the removal of the sidewalk was, I mean, the question is, this is a little bit more of a denser area for the community, and there are sidewalks on Main Street to connect to. So the thought is there might be value in having a sidewalk along Sienna Lane for the residents of this project to be able to connect to the existing sidewalk network out on Main Street. This is the first time we're seeing it, so I don't have like a hard reaction to it, although it was curious that the sidewalk
Well,
was there.
the sidewalk and all that was kind of developed for just that parking area. The sidewalk didn't go all the way up the hill. It was only right in there by the mail area. So when people got out of their cars, there was a sidewalk for that. And then,
Just be here.
Did the original plan, did it have the sidewalk going all the way to Maine?
no,
Oh, it didn't.
it just had it going to basically the top of the pull off that was there for the little bar building.
Steve, I'm going to ask you this question, and I know that you're shooting from the hip, and we're asking you about a document that we're also looking at. It's pretty new to us. Would adding a sidewalk to Sienna Lane propose a particular stormwater challenge on this site?
I can look at adding it. I mean, the site's challenging on stormwater anyways.
Yeah, no, it's a very challenging site for stormwater. We understand that. I mean, the strategies and the infrastructure you're using indicates how challenging it is. I think it's something that may be worth being prepared to discuss a little bit with the
Okay.
planning commission.
So what do you look at? Do you think it just
I think
a
what-
sidewalk up to
I
the
think
top
what
of
I'm
it?
looking for is an exploration as to whether a sidewalk from basically up near where the core buildings are down Sienna Lane. I don't think I need you to do any sidewalks interior to the site, like between all the units, but where it forms Sienna Lane on its way down towards the Main Street. I do question if there might be value in a sidewalk there, and I do think my planning commission would be interested in hearing about the feasibility of that sidewalk. If you can come prepared with that, it's a smaller item amongst this, but it's one that obviously we're just trying to pick up on now, and this is an area of the site that was subject to revisions. I do, think this is a moment where we might want to just make sure we know what we want to happen
Yeah,
there.
well, I'll take a look at it. I mean, I took out the impervious of where we had the parking area and the
Yeah.
sidewalks were partway there before anyway, so I can look at it. I don't think it'll make a huge difference.
Yep. And then I do note you've got some other parking spaces in there that I assume is intended for visitor parking, but you're probably on this site more than met the parking requirement of a comprehensive permit. Tom, I don't know if you can speak to that. I believe that the additional parking spaces you offered, the sort of, I guess you would call them more the visitor parking spaces, that's
Yeah.
surplus,
Well,
not required. Is that
the-
correct?
The
Park per unit under the comp plan rather than our typical
Yep.
per bedroom.
Yep.
So you've done a pretty good job.
I think all we were
Making it
required,
livable.
Yeah.
Two bedrooms, 2 spots, makes sense, plus a few extra.
Yeah, and then, I mean, from what I'm seeing, each unit, the spots are met within the driveway areas, and then you've got a total of 6, looks like 9 additional spaces as
got
a
nine
surplus.
additional, so
Yeah.
there's the driveway and the garage at each unit, which I believe met the requirements of 2 per. I know the fire chief initially was concerned with if, somebody has a party and there's people parked all over the place, he's going to have a hard time with the trucks in there. So we added the additional visitor spaces just to make sure that
That makes sense to me,
start
Steve.
getting clogged up.
That makes sense. Any other comments, questions on this proposal? I think you've heard from us. The only other thing I think I might frame as a TRC comment that's just new on the spot would be encouraging you to explore the feasibility of adding a sidewalk on one side of Sienna Lane all the way from the main area to Main Street. And if not, I think we would consider Sienna Lane to some degree a private road. So if you're not providing a sidewalk, I think we'll need you to submit a waiver. In fact, I would say in this zone, so as you know, as a comprehensive permit, you're allowed to seek waivers. It's part of the process, but you have to identify what the waivers are. So I think we would classify Sienna Lane as a private road, not necessarily just a circulation road amongst a parking area. And we would be looking to think about it that way. I would note the parking spaces on either side kind of offer a unique type of approach, but I don't mind where they are. I don't think I'm seeking for you to change parking, but I think we're seeking for you to make sure we're treating Sienna Lane like a road, not necessarily just a driveway or a parking entrance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think we'll ask again, explore the sidewalk, come prepared at the planning commission to discuss that issue, the feasibility of being able to add a sidewalk on one side. And if not, I think we'll be looking just for cleaning up the number of waivers you're seeking.
A waiver from each of the elements of a private road under the dimensional requirements in the zoning code.
Do you want to come to the mic?
In the planning,
Tom, do you want to come to the mic so we can make sure we have everything you're saying on the record?
Steve and I have done this a few times and I figured I wasn't going to have to say a word.
Oh, good.
But, yeah, so I appreciate your comment and what you're asking for, but, wow, quite a few waivers, right? Between the dimensional requirements of the zoning ordinance and the road requirements of the planning regulations, that's not an insignificant ask of us and won't be an insignificant ask from us to the board. I just want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, the comprehensive permit statute provides a broad ability for you to seek waivers and adjustments from the zoning code and the subdivision regulations, but it does ask for you to identify those waivers. So essentially, what you can't offer is a plan and say, we seek all waivers that make the plan work. You actually have to identify those waivers from the code. I can tell you that we would consider that a private road. That means that I don't know if we have an issue with 24 feet. I didn't hear any comments to the contrary, but you'd be seeking for a waiver to achieve that width of roadway. Again, the subdivision regs probably call out that sidewalks are needed even on private roads, but I'm speaking a little out of turn because I don't have the code in front of me. I'm thinking we're just having a conversation on something that's fairly new to us.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand
Yeah.
myself because it would be, to classify it as a private road, which I'm not sure that I agree with, but just accepting that for the moment, there would be a laundry list of waivers from this private condominium access road to a public street.
Yep.
So if that's what you're seeking, then, we have our work cut out for us.
Yeah, and I think that the waivers are just, it doesn't change the ask. Essentially, if we do agree that Sienna Lane is a private road, if it's not, and you guys want to opine that it's not, then I think I'd be very curious to hear, what is Sienna Lane then? But if Sienna Lane is considered a private road that is meant to access these lots, I think we're just going to want to have a record that indicates the waivers you need to achieve it. That doesn't mean we have a substantive concern with those waivers, but it does mean for the record, you need to identify them.
Okay.
Mr. Director, just one further comment. If this is going to be considered a public road,
It's not.
it's not, okay,
Yep.
because there's no way that I would agree to this with the turnaround not being available and not being a through road at Kenneray. So if this is going to be a private condo association, I'm fine. I'm done. But if you're gonna make it public, I got a problem.
Yeah, no, we
Yeah, no.
100% agree with you. It looks like it looks because at pre-application, there was some discussion of this being a through road.
Yeah.
That's, the design ended up this way based on that one-way traffic suggestion. But it's not going to be a public road.
And I think we're comfortable with it not being the approach that we discussed at pre-app, particularly because your traffic expert actually suggested that Kenray was not a particularly safe point for site. So we understood that we were not going to further encourage traffic to move through the site to Kenray based on the traffic analysis that you presented, which was why we basically started to move towards the access to Kenray being emergency vehicle only. So that's kind of the path of travel, is we were open to that concept of it being a through road, but based on your traffic expert's testimony or report, we accepted that we were probably heading to a place where that wasn't the safest outcome.
Okay.
So
I mean, the roadway design and everything in there was designed around the fire department. I mean, because the original was like 20 feet wide and the fire chief wanted a little bit wider.
Yep.
You know, and it was also designed coming out of there onto Kenray, or if he has to come in, that's what, you know, their big radius is, I think, like 24 foot on
Yep.
that access, but that was what the fire chief wanted to see. That's why we made sure there's total of 24 foot wide of asphalt in there and stuff. It was for the
Yeah.
fire trucks, make sure that they had room, so.
yeah, I'm not hearing any negative comments on the width of
Um,
24 feet. I think
I mean, on the leaving it open, we just left it open to what way we were gonna go, whether it was gonna be through or whether it was gonna be one way until we got the traffic report back, which we just got right before you guys got it as well, so.
understood. Yeah, based on the traffic report, I think on the town's end, we understood that suddenly there was a safety concern with Kenray that had been documented. I think there were some comments at pre-app, but not necessarily from any traffic experts concerned with Kenray, but now we have your applicant. Yeah, I think
Kevin pointed
Director
it
McGee
out.
had some issues with it. Then when your traffic expert indicated that they also felt that it was safe, it turned into something where we said, let's let all their traffic come in and out through Sienna. So that's where we ended up.
When I come out of Kenray Drive, I look like hell to the left and only turn right, because you can't see otherwise. You just
Yeah.
get out of there while you can.
All right. Any more comments on this application? Do you have any more questions or feedback for us?
No, good.
All right.
All right, thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
If I may, could I address the members? As far as Village at
Sir,
Tioga, is there any?
Is this a public comment?
Is there any public comment on the Village at Tioga?
No, sir. We don't accept public comment at the TRC. You're certainly allowed to submit public comment in writing to me, and you're allowed to submit, and you can do that via email. My email address is certainly all over. There's a webpage dedicated to this project if you've seen it. Unfortunately, the TRC, we do not accept public comments via the TRC. You also can make your public comment at the meeting, December 18th. You can make a verbal public comment as well.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. The next item on the agenda is item 4.5, the Gormley Garage ADU. This is for comments to the Planning Commission. This is for an accessory dwelling unit with associated dimensional variances. The application, the subject property is at 33 Bryan Hollow Road. Applicant proposes to construct a 1,288 square foot 28 by 46 foot, one bedroom accessory dwelling unit as a second floor above a proposed new garage on their 1.66 acre subject parcel. Applicant seeks three-dimensional variances as the ADU and the garage will be placed in the front yard, will be sited within the minimum side setback, and will exceed the maximum allowable floor area requirements. ADUs that are now not allowed by right shall utilize the Unified Development Review process and must be heard by the Planning Commission according to our zoning code. This application will be heard by the Planning Commission at their December 17th meeting. So with that being said, I see you guys are here. That's great. We're going to go through our TRC comments. I believe you've probably been offered a courtesy look at some of those comments. I know one was just wrapped up this morning. We'll go through our comments and then you'll have an opportunity to offer any feedback. So for this one, Mr. Haggerty.
Planning staff comments are as follows. Number one, the 28 by 46 one-bedroom ADU is intended as a second floor above a proposed 32 by 46 three-bay garage. The applicant seeks three-dimensional variances for the proposed structure. Dimensional variance number one, the structure will be placed in the front yard where zoning code section 255-920 dictates that the detached accessory structures must be placed in the rear yard or in the side yard if side setbacks can be maintained. Planning staff notes that the property's rear yard is characterized by steep grade changes that restricts buildable area there. The topographic conditions run from upwards of 270 feet in the northernmost portion of the rear yard to below 250 feet in the southwestern portion. Additionally, the subject parcel is also undersized for the RR3 rural residential zone at 1.66 acres and abuts the Flat River Reservoir in the rear. Dimensional variance number two, the structure will be placed within the minimum setbacks of the principal structure. Due to the recent state law changes regarding substandard lots of record, I-1 industrial minimum side setbacks apply to the principal structure. The structure will be sited 25.5 feet from the side property line where 30 feet is required. Planning staff notes the proposed structure will be sited 102 feet from the property's frontage on Bryan Hollow Road. Dimensional variance number three, the structure will exceed the maximum allowable floor area requirements. The applicant is seeking a second floor ADU at 1288 square foot, where the maximum unit size for a one-bedroom ADU in this case is 900 square feet, where per zoning code section 255-920. This represents an approximate 43.1% increase above the dimensional requirement. The applicant is also seeking a first floor garage at 1288 square feet, where the maximum unit size for detached accessory structures 1,200 square feet per zoning code section 255-920. This represents an approximate 7.3% increase above the dimensional requirement. And the applicant has provided snapshots of the front entrance to his property, which show that existing trees have been removed and indicated that a new vegetative buffer will be planted. Planning staff seek additional information about the applicant's proposed landscape plan for the front yard on a revised plan, including the type, number, and height of the plantings. And finally, the applicant has proposed to mirror the landscape approach of an abutting neighbor, which has a combination of small evergreen trees, shrubbery, and deciduous trees to screen their front yard. Planning staff favors the mirror approach pursuant to the details of an imminent landscape plan.
Thank you. Engineer Levesque, did you have comments on this?
I did. Submission of a Town of Coventry soil erosion and sediment control application will be required for the project. The main dwelling contains 4 bedrooms and was originally permitted for a 4-bedroom OWTS. Please provide RIDEM residential OWTS suitability determination for the added ADU bedroom. Stormwater management practices must be provided to treat the water quality volume of runoff from the project's proposed rooftop and driveway accordance with the state stormwater manual and the state of Rhode Island stormwater management guidance for individual single-family residential lot development. Practices could consist of qualifying pervious areas, rain gardens, or infiltration systems such as dry wells or crushed stone trenches. Please submit stormwater management practice sizing calculations for the rooftop and driveway runoff volume prepared by a licensed engineer or surveyor. Engineering requests that the existing and proposed grading be added to the site plan.
And just as a clarifying comment, Engineer Levesque, this project will be a one-stop at the Planning Commission, and then after that, they're on to building permit. Would you be satisfied if the additional stormwater management practices and grading be added to the site plan can happen at the building permit stage?
Yes.
Okay. And then for clarity on the landscaping, I think we are looking for better clarity around the landscaping prior to the December 17th meeting. We want to make sure that's firm. Some of the other technical details I think can happen at building permit. Were there any fire comments on this particular application?
No comment.
All right. Moving to this side. Director McGee, any comments?
No comments.
Chief Witt, any comments?
No comments.
All right. That completes our comments. You guys have any questions or feedback?
You want to say something about?
And if you don't mind, just offer your name for the record.
I'm Greg Gormley. I own the property.
Thank you.
Spencer McComb, architect.
Great.
Just a couple of questions. we're going to be up here on the 17th. We've done our affidavit, which I have with me to give to you about the mailings that went out. We'd like to keep our place in line and wondering if some of the stuff can be submitted after the fact.
So as you just heard, I think we're comfortable with the stormwater analysis and grading that was just suggested by the town engineer can come after the meeting. The landscaping is something that we're going to want to firm up. I think in an ideal way, we'd like to see you guys propose landscaping. I don't need it to be a landscape architect stamped plan. It can be your plan, where you just indicate locations, numbers, types, and height of plantings, and that gives us something firm to react to. We'd be looking for that by Wednesday, so Wednesday in 2 days, if you can do it. That will be in time for our staff report. And then if it's not by then, staff essentially have to frame a recommendation based on what we have, which will be, right now we have the concept that you're looking to mirror the neighbors, which I think was an approach that we didn't have any issues with, but we're going to have to memorialize what does that mean, how many trees, because obviously we'll need some meat on it to offer as what's the recommendation for the commission. Again, this is a project that you're just at the commission once you're past them, you're on to building permit. So for the landscaping, I think we'll want that now. For the other issues, I think you can offer it at building permit.
Okay, I think we can prepare a plan for
That'd be great.
proposed landscape
That'd be great.
by Wednesday.
I think the landscaping is a key element here, to be honest. I mean, what we typically have done for other things where there's a large accessory structure in the front, it's really about ensuring that the view from the neighbors and from the street is somewhat hidden as much as is reasonable and as much as we can expect. I don't think that we necessarily it didn't jump out to us as staff as having an issue that the site was too small to have a structure this big. It wasn't an issue to us to have work with the front of the lot. I think that to us, the issue is wanting to make sure how it appears from the street. And that's where the landscaping is a critical mitigation for you. Is that making sense?
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments or questions on this one? Great. Thank you very much. Moving along with our agenda. Next item is item 4.6. This is 395 Knotty Oak Road Rehabilitation and Extension. This is for comments to the Planning Commission. This is being heard as a pre-application, so no binding votes at this stage. This is a minor land development with an associated use variance. Subject property 395 Knotty Oak Road. Applicant proposes to construct a 4,100 square foot addition, of which 3,000 square feet would be a replacement of a fire damaged section of the building, and 1,100 square feet of the building would be new construction of additional space. The existing use is a pre-existing non-conforming use, therefore additional space would represent an expansion of the non-conforming use and would require a use variance. This project will be reviewed under Unified Development Review, in which both the minor land development and the use variance will be decided by the Planning Commission. The proposal will be reviewed by the Planning Commission at their regular December 17th, 2025 meeting. For this, Mr. Chase, will you begin us with the comments?
Planning staff note that this pre-application submission for a minor land development will be heard under Unified Development Review, as a use variance would be required. The applicant would need to seek a use variance for the expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming commercial use. Staff recommend more complete answers on Form ZBR UV at the preliminary stage. Staff note that there will be no increase in impervious cover due to the entire parcel being paved. Applicant will be required to have engineered site plans with a Class 1 survey at the preliminary plan stage. And seeking clarification of the, seeking clarification if the new structure will match the height of the existing structure.
All right, Director McGee, any comments on this one?
No comments.
Chief Witt, any comments?
No comments.
Engineer Levesque, any comments?
Yes. A drainage plan and drainage calculations are required for the addition and any new impervious parking in accordance with Article 8D of the Town of Coventry Design and Public Improvement Standards. Upon project completion, a certificate of conformance from the engineer of record shall be required. The COC shall certify that the constructed project meets all required standards, regulations, and specifications in the permitting and construction documents. A certificate of occupancy will not be issued until the COC is received and accepted by the town. That's all I had.
Any comments from fire?
The only comment from fire is the fire department access on the backside with the unpaved road. Maintain it.
Maintain the, you mean the parking area behind their structure?
Yes.
Yeah, and actually the applicant might be able to speak to this. I know that there's some storage of salvage vehicles and some other kind of junk in the background. I think if this was to move forward and the applicant was to be successful, I believe their approach would be to clean up the site in the back, which would likely increase access for fire apparatus. I don't think they're looking to pave anything new, but I think that they would be able to remove things that are on the paved surface today. And if that represents the last comments, the applicant can get up and just verify that general approach.
Clarification, because we're a little, we're stating facts, but then
And Mr. Baldy, if you don't mind, just your name and.
Lou Baldy.
Yep, that does it.
attorney.
And you're with John Studley.
I am.
Great, thank
My office is at 445 Budlong Road, Cranston. We're submitting plans, and as we're submitting plans, we're making revisions. One of the things is the existing repair is 2,500 square feet. And we want to add on to that 1,100 square feet. So it's not a 4,100 square foot addition, it's actually 36. So it's less than the application. I have plans showing the before and after. I don't, we can submit those now.
Yeah, we'll certainly take your plans. I think that's fine. It doesn't really change the ask. It sounds like the use variance ask is still the same square footage, but it's the by right component.
Correct.
We had a higher number. The number is not
Correct.
3,000, it's 2,500.
Correct.
Understood. No, we'll make sure we get that correct as it goes
Okay.
forward.
And we're gonna have the plans are in the works now for, and the engineering plans, the class 1 survey and all that. We should have that before it's a December 17th meeting.
Yeah, although that's not required when you saw some of these comments, keep in mind, that was saying we wanted that before the preliminary plan stage. Right now, you're at a pre-app.
Okay.
So this,
We'll be
that's
ready to
fine.
go by.
I
the
mean, by all
17th.
means, you guys, if you want to give us more information, we felt comfortable at a pre-app with what you gave us to facilitate the dialogue and at the board. But if
Okay.
you have more detailed plans,
We do.
we'll certainly take them.
No, we do. I think we need them.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, keep in mind, I mean, I don't mind getting the details early. But that will be, something that as we get it, it won't be subject to TRC review because here we are.
Correct.
We haven't seen them. I don't have any issues with you providing additional information to the planning commission. It's a non-binding, non-voting stage, but it gets us better information.
Correct.
So you could have a little bit more of an accurate discussion with the planning commission. So in this context, I don't mind it because we weren't voting on this anyway. You're just volunteering additional information.
Understood. Clarification, new structure will match the height. I think one side of the new structure is going to have oversized garage doors. That height is probably going to be higher than what's originally there.
We're just rebuilding the same height that was there in the original before the fire.
So so I guess the question is, was the height of the original building taller than the height of the
Yes.
front section?
Yes.
What's there now is a certain height, but what was there was higher.
Understood. So it's, and obviously some of those details might have been lost in time to the fire. I don't think we have an issue with going down that path, but I think we'd look for you guys, if you can, by the meeting, offer us, what do you think roughly is that height? Maybe we're talking about 5 feet taller than the rest of the building, but give us an idea of
Well,
roughly.
On that side of the building, there was oversized garage doors.
Got it.
So we're going to duplicate that.
Yep. Yeah. I'm taking a look. Okay. So I see it. I mean, I think we'll be looking for, if you guys, when you come, give us an idea of how much taller the section that's going to be rebuilt. 4 feet? Okay. Thank you. I don't have a concern because if that's matching what was previously there, That's essentially there's a component of this project that's essentially a repair.
Correct.
And so we understand that you can repair, and then you're just seeking the use variance to match the height and the issues related to the repair. So
And
that-
the extra square footage.
Understood. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then, to get to the base of this, to rehab the whole property.
Yeah.
Vinyl siding, windows, new roof, clean the property up. Take care of the back entrance where there's trash and vehicles and whatever.
Yeah.
Just to bring it up to speed.
That honestly, although the challenge here is the use variance, but
Yeah.
if there's not strong objection, I think that we're entertaining that. I would say that's an excellent point to bring up to the board of your plans as part of this submission to clean up the site in general, clean up the look of the building. I think that goes a long way, because if there are people concerned with expanding the use, they may be made more comfortable to know that the use is going to be brought internal to the building and there will be less activity outside of the building. I think that's an important consideration for people to keep in mind.
Correct. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions, comments on this one? All right. Thank you very much. Yep, you're welcome. All right. Yep, understood. Thank you for that. The next item on our agenda is item 4.7, Dante Real Estate 2, Tioga Avenue. This is for comments to the Planning Commission. This is a combined master plan and preliminary plan major land development with associated dimensional variances. This is Assessors Plat 28, Lot 49, located on Tioga Avenue. It's a lot that's behind the McDonald's on Tioga. The applicant proposes to construct 10,000 square foot commercial condo building with associated landscaping and parking. In addition, the applicant is seeking a dimensional variance for having less than the required 50-foot vegetative buffer on the easterly side of the property, and also variance for building design elements proposed for the site, which is located within the Special Planning District overlay. This project will be reviewed under Unified Development Review, in which both the major land development and the dimensional variance will be decided by the Planning Commission, and the applicants requested a combined stages. I'll note this project was scheduled for and is going to appear on the agenda of the December 17th, 2025 Planning Commission agenda. However, we've learned that the mailing notice had not gone out as planned, so that we will not be able to hold a legal hearing on December 17th. So the matter will be subject to renotice, and we will be our January meeting is not available to take any extra business, so we will be hearing this in February. So for all those interested parties in this matter, we will be heading to the regular February meeting of the Planning Commission. That being said, this is still a fine meeting for us to use right now to facilitate comments on the application. Let's on this one, Mr. Chase, if you will begin.
Planning comments are, planning staff notes that this major land development application is being heard under Unified Development Review as dimensional variances are requested. The applicant is requesting to combine the master and preliminary stages of review. The applicant is seeking dimensional variances for having less than the required 50-foot vegetated buffer on the east side of the property, and for the building design elements proposed for this site which conflict with the Special Planning Overlay District Code. Staff strongly recommend as much of a planted vegetated buffer along the back of the building as possible. While a 50-foot buffer is not feasible, the rear of the building should be adequately screened from the abutting residential property. The required 50-foot vegetated buffer must be maintained along the southern edge of the property to shield the residents along that line. Applicant should provide more information on the current buffer and what mitigation steps the applicant is taking. Is there going to be lighting along the southern side of the building near the proposed dumpster location? Staff recommend relocating the dumpster to the north side of the building to allow for more screening and to avoid the need for a light if one is planned. The applicant is not required to provide state and local permits at this stage of review, but will be required to submit them at final plan. Per recently adopted state law, section 45-2339, state and local permits for major land developments and major subdivisions will now be required at the final plan stage of review as opposed to the preliminary plan.
Thank you very much. Director McGee, any comments?
Yes, several. One is that when we get to the next stage, the applicant should provide a approval letter from Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management for work within the buffer. Also, a approval letter from Rhode Island Department of Transportation for physical alteration permit. And also that fenced dumpster area provided so that wetland areas is taken care of.
Understood. And when you bring that comment up, when you say the next stage of review, you're referring to, excuse me, the final plan stage when those permits are owed.
Correct.
Thank you. Chief Wood, any comments?
We have no comments.
Thank you. Engineer Levesque, any comments?
As you stated, it's my understanding that there will be a future TRC meeting for this project, and engineering will provide comments at that meeting.
That's fair, Joe. I know that this one had some complexities to it, and we also had a very large agenda, and we do have time on this one because it will not be heard by Planning Commission. So it's understood you can provide your comments at a future TRC meeting. Yep. Were there any fire comments related to this one?
No comment.
Great. That completes the comments on this one. Does the applicant wants to offer any feedback or has any questions, they're welcome to come on up. If you don't mind, just let us know your name for the record.
My name is John Hampton. I represent the owner. So we took a look at the TRC comments. What we're going to do is basically we're going to provide in the back, they're going to do the 50-foot buffer, which is required. And then we're going to do additional 10-foot buffer with arborvitaes. I think me and Josh were talking about that. So that's what we're going to do. We have kind of a basic plan set up for that. So we'll have that 10-foot original buffer, and then we'll have the additional arborvitaes going all along the back there for those residential lots in the back. We have submitted this to DOT and DEM. We received comments back from DEM. The biggest thing right now is we had this originally as all infiltration. They want us to split it up. They want us to have detention and infiltration. So, Joe, I'm going to have to give you an additional drainage report for that because it's going to be a major design changes for that. Kind of a question for the fire marshals. This site is on a well. What size cistern do you need? And do we need to have sprinklers for that building?
You shouldn't need cisterns because you're right off Tyoke Ave right there. We should have a hydrant within a minimum.
Not too
Yeah,
far
that
away.
hydrant's within maximum allowable location for that new construction that you want to
Okay.
build. You're all set.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was too far back.
No, you're all set. Providing it was in a different area, you might need it, but not there. You're all set.
All right.
Thanks, John. John, any feedback about being able to relocate the dumpster?
We're working on that. We're just trying to coordinate with the snow areas. It's a big site, but it's narrow because of all that wetland in there. So that makes it a little bit difficult. We're trying to push it in the front maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, what you just showed with verification of the 50-foot buffer maintained and then those additional arborvitaes, appreciate that. I mean, that to me is the more critical concern, the southern side, because that's where you've got neighbors on the other side of that property line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the dumpster is one of those things that it's just one less thing to have to light, one less thing to have for noise, one less thing, for other outstanding issues for residential abutters. It's just helpful. I think we don't have a problem with where you're heading with the variances, but I think if you can work with us and make sure you treat that southern side of the site properly, we would appreciate that, and that would go a long way for the overall consideration of all the variances you're seeking.
Yep, I understood.
Yep. All right, any other comments or outstanding issues on this one? Thank you very much, John. All right. We're gonna move now to the final item, I believe. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We got two more. It's the agenda that won't end. We are now at agenda item 4.8, the Mapledare Warehouse Addition. This is for comments to the Planning Commission. This is a pre-application, no votes owed, minor land development with associated use variance. The address is 28 Mapledale Street. Applicant proposes to construct a 2,400 square foot first floor addition consisting of 2 new garage bays, as well as a 633 square foot second floor addition above a portion of the existing building. In addition, the applicant is applying for a use variance for the expansion of nonconforming use, and it will be reviewed via Unified Development Review. The proposal will be in front of the Planning Commission at their December 17th, 2025 meeting for a non-binding pre-application review. For this one, Mr. Chase, can you lead us with comments?
Planning staff's comments are: planning staff note that this pre-application submission will be heard under Unified Development Review as both dimensional variances and a use variance will be required. The applicant will need to seek dimensional variances for front and side setbacks. The applicant will need to seek a use variance for the expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming use. The applicant will need to provide a new calculation for parking and loading spaces. Staff would like confirmation that the additional floor area will not equal an increase in impervious surface. Is the surface covered by the expansion already impervious? Staff would be looking for some kind of screening, trees and/or a stockade fence along the western edge of the property to screen abutting residential uses. It is noted that there is limited opportunity on the subject property, so plantings in the right-of-way may be explored with feedback from other departments.
That's you.
Staff would request the proposed height of the easterly expansion. Staff requests information on how much busier the applicant thinks the site will be after the addition as it relates to trucking and vehicle trip activity.
Thank you. Director McGee, do you have any comments on this one?
My only comment is that I certainly hope there'll be no disruption to our newly paved surfaces that we just paved Mapledale. So hopefully the existing utilities are being used. Other than that, there's no comment.
If you don't mind, Director McGee, I know one of the issues here is that the applicant has, it's a retaining wall right on their property line. And this is a commercial use in a residential neighborhood in a residential zone. It's been there. They're looking to expand, but this might be an opportunity to get a little bit more screening and vegetative plantings along the front, but it would need to occur within the public right-of-way along the grassy area. Do you have concerns with that?
If it's in the grass area, I don't have any concern, but I cannot have any more of the asphalt taken off. The roadway is pretty much at a minimum now, so.
That's fair. Thank you. Chief Wood, any comments on this one?
No comments.
Great. Engineer Levesque, comments?
Yep. Submission of a Town of Coventry soil erosion and sediment control application will be required. And upon completion of the project, a certificate of conformance from the engineer of record shall be required. A drainage plan and drainage calculations are required for the addition, and new impervious parking in accordance with Article 8D of the Town of Coventry Design and Public Improvement Standards. And please confirm that there are no proposed floor drains in the garage addition.
Any comments from fire?
The only comment from fire is the fire flow is going to have to be met from the closest fire hydrant.
Thank you. That completes our comments. Applicants welcome to offer any feedback or questions.
John Medeiros, the owner of 28 Mapledale. Whatever the town needs, we provide.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think loosely, this is the purpose of a pre-application here is valuable because as a use variance, you may be familiar, it's a difficult standard to achieve. Essentially, if there were residential abutters that were in strong opposition to this, that would be very difficult for the Planning Commission to see that. However, there's an opportunity for this to potentially even be a better outcome for residents, particularly with that opportunity to plant some trees right on the front property line, right on Mapledale. And, I think that's something that you guys should look at closely. Obviously, we're hearing right now that there isn't a concern as long as you're not doing anything that disrupts the street. And it's also understood you have a retaining wall there. So you have to be thoughtful on what kind of trees, what kind of root systems, what's going to happen there. But there's an opportunity to give a better screen than what exists today. And then I don't know if you can offer us anything in the way of feedback before the meeting on how much busier you anticipate your site is going to be with trucking and vehicle activity.
Same thing.
Really? I mean, so you're adding a,
I'm adding for my use. I'm there. Not all the time. I park my equipment there. It's going to be the same traffic like it is now.
okay. So you don't, although you're expanding the building, you don't anticipate an expansion of the overall operation in terms of vehicles coming on and off the site.
Also,
That's helpful information for us to know. And again, it's a pre-application, so no votes, but it's a good opportunity. And we did ask for you to mail to the abutters because this is a good opportunity before you have to do a lot of detailed design to understand if there are any perspectives out in the neighborhood on this project. And it's your opportunity to also impress upon people your desire to provide an additional screen in the front. That might be something that we'll work out with you at the future stages is, what is an appropriate tree planting? How many? Where can they go? And you have an opportunity to even provide a better aesthetic than what exists there today while you expand for your business. So there might be a good opportunity to do that.
okay. So Mapledale, I don't have too much frontage there, too much frontage. It's only probably 30 feet if it's that. I don't know if you met along the wall and the right of way.
No, top of the wall
Mhm.
in the public right of way. So
Uh-huh.
we're talking about you be planting trees at your expense, but on town property. I wanted to make sure that wasn't a safety concern with the other members of the committee, because obviously if there's a tree on town property, we want to be thoughtful about that. However, as long as it's in that grassy area that's above the wall along Mapledale, there's not a concern. And if you were to plant a row of arborvitaes, then there's an opportunity for you to better screen the project that is as it exists today. So you could grow and offer better screening. That might be something an abutter would appreciate.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mr. Chairman, also, I would like to know beforehand what type of trees you're planning to put in that area, because the root systems are integral to how it affects the asphalt pavement and utilities. So just let Public Works know before you do any planting in the town right away.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kevin, do you have any feedback on types of trees you might prefer?
When the time comes, we'll be happy to have a discussion with him.
Gotcha.
I don't want maples.
Not maples. I mean, would you have any specific concern with green giants? Okay. I mean, arborvitae, green giants are a good screening technique. We'll get into those details as we get into future stages. Your ability to be open to that and your willingness to do that and your conversation around it at a pre-app could be helpful to the planning commission, especially if neighbors come to the meeting and they want to hear what's going to happen and what kind of changes are happening on the site. To hear that they're going to get additional trees planted in the front might be a benefit to them. Is that all making sense?
Yeah.
Thank you.
One more question, sir. Top of the wall, you want a stockade fence or you want a ceiling fence?
If we were to get a fence there on the top of the wall, I think it'd be stockade primarily because we're looking for that visual screen. It could be that the trees might be a better screen than the fence. I think the comment might have been one or the other.
Yeah.
We can have that discussion. We don't need those details right now, but I think your willingness to go one or the other or some combination. In my mind, that if you put the fence there, it actually constrains the trees because you're in a tight area. I mean, there's a limited area. If you were putting a wall on the top of the wall, putting a fence on the top of the wall and trying to plant trees, those trees are going to get planted 3 feet off the wall at best. So, we can have a discussion on what's the right treatment there. I think your willingness to do something in that area could be seen as a positive mitigation for the increase in the commercial expansion. So I think it's something that if you're open to, let's have those conversations and then let's go, let's see what feedback we get at the meeting in December 17th and we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Last item on the agenda, item number 4.9, Summit Commercial Condos. This is a for comments to the Planning Commission. This is a pre-application of a major land development. The subject property is 28 Old Summit Road. Applicant proposes to construct 2 commercial condo buildings of 12,000 square feet and 6,250 square feet respectively, with associated parking and landscaping. This proposal will be reviewed by the Planning Commission at their December 17th meeting. No votes would be owed. This is a non-binding pre-application stage of review. So for this one, Mr. Chase, will you lead us off?
Planning staff note that this pre-application submission shall be heard as a major land development and that master plan stage would be the next proper step. Staff ask if the applicant intends to request a combination of the master and preliminary plans. Staff see the value in the proposed buffer along Old Summit Road and ask the applicant to extend the buffer around the corner to Flat River Road where practical and around the back of the southern building. A photometric plan will be required at preliminary plan stage to show that the light will not spill onto neighboring properties. Staff ask the applicant to make sure the color of the building blends well into the surrounding landscape and/or neighborhood. Staff note that a parking analysis will have to be calculated along with either loading spots or a waiver from said requirement. Staff note that a new address on Flat River Road would be required.
Director McGee, any comments?
Yes, I do. I would be looking to see if the engineer department would also look at the eastern portion of the parking lot, have an infiltration basin installed so that it would reduce the contaminants leaching into the wetland area, especially during snow plowing. We're looking for provide a detailed landscape plan and provide for a fenced-in area for the trash dumpster, possibly located west of unit number 17. That'll be all.
Chief Witt, any comments?
No comments at this time.
Great. Actually, down there, Russ, Mr. Locklade, would you prefer fire representative? Russ, why don't you offer any comments you might have on this one?
Obviously, the size of the building requires fire alarm and sprinklers, and I have to apologize. I was just telling Steve that my computer crashed, so this is the first time I actually get to see these plans, but I'm relatively certain that the fire marshal and the chief in Weston will require to follow the same code. So at a minimum, fire alarms and sprinklers.
Understood.
Require a very large cistern.
So you need a large cistern to provide the pressure and the capacity.
And the pressure will be provided by the internal system, but
Understood.
I would think a 30,000 gallon tank is going to be a minimum for something that big.
Understood. Thank you for that comment. And then Engineer Levesque, any comments on this?
Submission of a Town of Coventry soil erosion and sediment control application will be required. Upon project completion, a certificate of conformance from the engineer of record shall be required. A RIDEM freshwater wetlands permit shall be required for the project. Drainage plans and drainage calculations are required for the new building and any new impervious parking in accordance with Article 8D of the Town of Coventry Design and Public Improvement Standards.
Thank you. Any other comments on this one at this time? Mr. Hampton, if you're representing the applicant, any questions or feedback for us?
No. My biggest question is whether or not we needed the sprinklers, but that was been addressed. So that was the biggest question here, and all of them seem pretty reasonable.
Got it. Do you think there's an opportunity to add additional landscaping? This is a pre-app stage, so there's no vote owed, and this is an early stage, but we noticed that there's I believe that's OWTS over there on the western side. Is there an opportunity to shift things so that we can get some additional landscaping along the corner?
I think it's definitely a possibility. I just have to keep it 10 feet away. So that's the
Okay.
only requirement from OWTF
Yeah.
is the 10 foot.
Yeah. I'd note we've gotten, there seems to be a lot of public interest generating around this. So I think the ability to offer a vegetative screen will be helpful
Yeah.
in terms of how it blends with the community.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Hampton. Any other comments or questions? All that being said, I will consider